Have you ever stood on the edge of a decision, frozen? You know the path, you know the mission, but a silent virus in your mind paralyzes your trigger finger. This is the poison of doubt. It whispers that you're not ready, that you need more time, more information, a sign, and every moment you listen, you are actively choosing weakness over your own destiny. That hesitation is a betrayal of the man you were born to be, but imagine for a moment waking up with absolute certainty. Imagine a mind so clear, so commanded, that when a decision presents itself, your only response is immediate, powerful execution. Picture yourself as the commander, not the soldier debating the orders. A man whose action is so swift it leaves no space for doubt to even breathe. This isn't a fantasy. It's a trainable state of being. The gap between the man who hesitates and the man who executes is not filled with motivation or luck. It is bridged by a code. In this transmission, I am not going to give you suggestions. I am going to install the mental framework that annihilates doubt at its root, a code of combat that will become your new operating system. This is your first order. If you are ready to stop negotiating with your own potential and start commanding it, then subscribe to this channel. This is not a subscription. It is your enlistment in the war against your own weakness. Do it now. You call it procrastination, a harmless habit. You tell yourself it's just laziness, something you'll get around to fixing later. This is the enemy's first victory, convincing you it is not an enemy at all. It disguises itself as comfort, as the reasonable choice to wait for a better moment, for more energy, for a sign that never comes. It is a lie. This force is not passive. It is an active saboteur working silently within your own mind. It is a corrosive agent that eats away at your ambition, your self-confidence, and your will to build. It doesn't scream. It whispers, and its whisper is the most dangerous sound in the universe, for it is the sound of your own voice betraying you, telling you to stand down. This enemy has a true name: drifting. It is the state of moving through life without a defined purpose, without a hand on the rudder. It is allowing the currents of distraction, comfort, and the opinions of others to dictate your course. The drifter is not the master of his own ship. He is merely cargo, hoping for a favorable tide. This is the default state of the undisciplined man. Understand this with absolute clarity. The enemy does not need to defeat you in a glorious battle. It only needs you to do nothing. It wins by default. Every single day that you drift, that you postpone, that you allow your mind to wander without a mission, the enemy solidifies its control over your territory. You are losing a war not by fighting and failing, but by refusing to fight at all. You must stop seeing this as a personal failing and start seeing it for what it is, a strategic threat. It is a form of mental slavery, a self-imposed prison where the bars are made of your own excuses. You have been conditioned to accept this prison as normal, to see the drifter's life as your own. Today, that conditioning is broken. We break it. By calling the enemy by its name and declaring war upon it, you are not a procrastinator. You are a man who has been caught in the current of the drift, but a man can learn to swim against the current. He can build a new ship. He can seize the rudder and set a new course, powered by the fire of a defined purpose. This is your first tactical order. You will no longer use the weak word procrastination. You will call it drifting or surrender. You will identify it. Every time it appears, not as a mood, but as an enemy incursion into your mind, you will become vigilant, a sentinel guarding the fortress of your own will. Now we seal this recognition. This is the moment you officially declare your enemy. You will no longer live in ignorance of the war being waged inside you. Repeat this declaration. Feel the power in naming your foe. Repeat it now. I am a commander, not a drifter. I reject the surrender of inaction. The root of all drifting, the very heart of the enemy's power, is indecision. It is that pause between knowing and doing. In that gap, doubt breeds, fear grows, and the will to act dies a silent death. You think you are being prudent, weighing your options, but what you are actually doing is training your mind to hesitate. You are teaching it that action requires permission. Every time you defer a choice, you are casting a vote for a weaker version of yourself. The successful man, the man who commands his reality, understands a fundamental law of power. He makes decisions quickly and definitively. He decides before he feels ready, because he knows that readiness is a consequence of action, not a prerequisite for it. The majority of men live in a state of perpetual deliberation. They wait for a guarantee of success that will never come. They wait for all the lights to turn green. The man of action, however, understands that life is a game of probabilities, not certainties. He takes the shot, and if he misses, he adjusts his aim and fires again. The drifter never even loads the weapon. This is why immediate decision is so powerful. It shatters the pattern of hesitation. The moment you make a firm, unequivocal decision, your mind stops looking for excuses and starts looking for solutions. The central question in your brain shifts from a weak "should I" to a powerful "how will I." This simple shift is the fulcrum upon which your entire destiny pivots. You must understand, the decision does not have to be perfect. This is the lie that keeps you frozen. The pursuit of the perfect plan is the most elegant form of procrastination. What matters is that a decision is made. Action creates clarity. You cannot steer a stationary ship. You must move forward, even if it's into the fog. You adjust your course along the way. The leaders and builders of this world are not those who waited for certainty. They were men who had the courage to commit to a course of action based on the information they had and the faith to handle the consequences. They understood that the cost of inaction is always, without exception, greater than the cost of a mistake. This is your new combat doctrine. You will become a man of immediate decision. You will train yourself to close the gap between thought and action until it is non-existent. You will starve the habit of indecision by giving it nothing to feed on. You will amputate maybe from your vocabulary. Your world will become one of yes or no now. You will give yourself the first command under this new doctrine. Choose. One small but important action you have been postponing. Do not think about it. Do not analyze it. Simply decide right now that it is done, and then take the immediate physical first step. Make the call, send the email, write the first line. Now, repeat this command to seal the doctrine. My decision is my command. I execute without hesitation. You have made a decision. You have taken a single action. But then the old inertia returns, the crushing weight of the larger task. You acted once, but how do you maintain consistency? How do you turn a single act of defiance into a relentless campaign? The answer lies not in willpower but in physics. The law of momentum. Imagine a freight train. At a complete stop, its immense power is dormant. A small wooden block on the track can hold it in place. But once that same train is moving at speed, its momentum is so vast that it can smash through a solid steel wall without even slowing. Your mind and your will operate under this exact same law. Procrastination, the state of drifting, keeps you at a standstill. In this state, every obstacle, no matter how small, seems insurmountable. The wooden block of a minor inconvenience is enough to stop you completely. But once you begin to act, even with the smallest possible motion, you begin to build momentum. Soon, the walls that once seemed impossible will crumble before you. This is the secret that men of great achievement understand. Success is not born from singular heroic leaps. It is forged in the relentless accumulation of small, consistent actions. Your mission is not to conquer the world in a day. It is to lay one brick perfectly every single day. The power is not in the brick. It is in the consistency of the laying. Most men wait for motivation to strike them like lightning, but they have it backward. Motivation is not the cause of action. It is the child of action. The more you do, the more you feel like doing. Action creates evidence that you are a person who acts, which in turn fuels your belief and your energy to act more. It is a positive feedback loop, a virtuous cycle of power. Your tactical objective, therefore, is to make the initial action so small, so non-threatening that your mind has no reason to resist it. Do not think about writing the book. Commit to writing one single sentence. Do not think about running a marathon. Commit to putting on your running shoes and stepping outside. This is the art of reducing initial resistance to zero. The human brain has a powerful completion bias. It finds it deeply unsettling to leave a task unfinished once it has been started. By taking that first micro step, you are hijacking this bias. You are tricking your own mind into taking over. The conscious effort is only in starting. The subconscious will crave the feeling of finishing. This is your next field exercise. Take your primary objective, the one you decided upon in the last step. Now break down its first physical action into a micro-commitment, a step so small it is impossible not to take it. Then take that step. Observe how your mind, once in motion, wants to continue. Now install this law. Repeat, my momentum is my weapon. I build IT with one small action at a time. If you do not control the thoughts you feed your mind, you will inevitably be controlled by them. And procrastination is nothing more than the physical manifestation of the story you tell yourself every single day. The words you repeat in the privacy of your own mind are the architects of your prison or your palace. It is your choice. Napoleon Hill discovered that the subconscious mind is like a fertile field. It does not judge what you plant. It will grow poison ivy with the same dedication it will grow a mighty oak. If you constantly plant seeds of "I'm not disciplined, I can't focus, I'll do it later," you are cultivating a harvest of failure. Your mind accepts this programming and works tirelessly to make it your reality. The great men of history, the builders and the commanders, did not just have productive habits. They cultivated a powerful internal dialogue that drove them forward. They understood that the words you repeat with emotion become beliefs, and those beliefs shape your actions, and your actions forge your destiny. To destroy procrastination, you must first destroy the identity of the procrastinator. You must rewrite your own programming. You will begin a campaign of deliberate, conscious autosuggestion. You will speak to yourself not as you are, but as you are determined to become. You will give your subconscious new, direct, and powerful orders. You will lie to the weak man you were until he disappears and the strong man you declare becomes the only reality. This is not a simple trick of positive thinking. This is a proven science. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Hill knew a century ago. The constant repetition of thoughts and affirmations literally creates new neural pathways in your brain. You are physically rewiring your own mind. You are burning new roads for your thoughts to travel down, roads that lead to action, not to the swamp of hesitation. You have spent years reinforcing the identity of someone who waits. You cannot expect to erase that with a single wish, but with intentional daily application of this law, you can and you will reprogram your mind to act naturally, automatically, and without resistance. You are forging a new identity, one that does not know the meaning of the word later. Your next command is to create your identity statement. Write down a short, powerful phrase that represents the disciplined commander you are becoming. It could be, "I execute with precision," or "I am relentless action." This is your new call sign. This is who you are now. You will repeat this phrase every morning upon waking and every night before sleeping. Now we begin the forging process. You must feel this in your bones. The old identity is burning away and the new one is taking its place, forged in the fire of your own declared word. Say this with the authority of a creator commanding his creation into existence. Repeat it now. I am the forge of my own identity. My word is law. You are learning to reprogram your mind, but there is a resource you are spending every second that is non-renewable and unforgiving. Time. Every moment you waste in hesitation, in drifting, in procrastination is a piece of your life that you have burned and can never get back. Grasping this truth in its brutal entirety is the ultimate catalyst for action. Stop and think. Do a battlefield assessment of your life. How many days, how many months, how many years have you already surrendered to the enemy of inaction? How many opportunities have died on the vine because you failed to act at the decisive moment? The greatest mistake of the common man is to believe that he has an infinite supply of tomorrows. But one day is not a day of the week. Napoleon Hill taught that time has no mercy for those who do not value it. It simply passes. The task you do not complete today is not more likely to be done tomorrow. It is less likely. Procrastination is a silent thief. It does not just steal your accomplishments. It destroys your self-respect. Every time you postpone, you train your brain to accept less from life. You become a spectator, watching others achieve, while you wait for a perfect moment that will never arrive. The great achievers have one trait in common. They operate with a desperate sense of urgency. They understand that every minute is a precious, irreplaceable unit of opportunity. They do not spend time. They invest it in the service of their definite, major purpose. Imagine you have a bank account, and every single morning, $86,400 are deposited into it. There is only one rule. Whatever you do not use by the end of the day disappears forever. Would you let a single cent go to waste? Of course not. You would be ruthless in your allocation of that resource. This is exactly what happens with the 86,400 seconds of your life every single day. A day lost to drifting is a day you can never recover. It is a strategic asset that has been permanently squandered. You must start acting as if every second is a priceless investment in the empire you are building. You must develop an intolerance for wasted time, a holy anger against the thief of hesitation that tries to steal it from you. This is your new operational mindset. Stop procrastinating. No, do not just stop, attack it. Act as though every moment is critical to the war effort, because it is. Choose one important task right now, not tomorrow, not in an hour. Now, take the first step in this very minute. This is how you honor the value of your own life. This is not a motivational idea. This is a law of reality. Time is the currency of life, and you are either investing it or you are wasting it. There is no middle ground. Install this law into your core programming. Let it be the clock that drives all your actions. Repeat it now. Time is my most valuable asset. I invest IT with urgent precision. You understand the cost of inaction. You understand the value of time. But the great question remains, how do you force yourself to act when fear is paralyzing you? The answer is as old as warfare itself. You must eliminate any possibility of retreat. You must, in the timeless words of military strategy, burn your own bridges. Napoleon Hill studied the most successful people and noticed they all shared this characteristic. They made failure an impossibility in their own minds by removing any path backward. The origin of this concept is simple and brutal. When a general crossed a bridge to invade hostile territory, he would often order the bridge destroyed behind his army. This left his soldiers with only two choices: advance and win, or stand and die. Think about how many times you have procrastinated because deep down you knew you could get away with it. You knew you could postpone a little longer. You knew you had a comfortable escape route back to your zone of comfort, back to inaction. As long as that safe alternative exists, your mind will always be tempted to take it. It is the path of least resistance. High performers, commanders of their own destiny, deliberately and systematically eliminate this option. Thomas Edison famously spent all his money on his experiments, forcing himself into a position where he had to invent something revolutionary simply to survive. Henry Ford made bold decisions when everyone called him a fool because he did not allow himself the luxury of turning back. When you burn your bridges, your mind enters a state of absolute clarity and commitment. All the energy that was being wasted on doubt, fear, and contingency planning is suddenly funneled into a single point of focus, moving forward. The only possible direction is towards your objective. The decision is no longer if, but how. This is a terrifying prospect for the untrained mind. It screams for a safety net, but you are not training to be safe. You are training to be powerful. Power is found in the crucible of absolute commitment. It is found in the place where you have bet everything on yourself, with no option of cashing out. Your next command is a tactical maneuver. Identify one major goal you have been drifting on. Now you must engineer a commitment that makes it impossible for you to retreat. Announce it publicly. Invest money you cannot get back. Make a promise to a mentor whose respect you would die to keep. Remove your own escape hatch. This is the act of a true commander. You are forcing your own hand. You are dictating the terms of your engagement with reality. Watch how your mind reacts when it knows there is no way out but through. Now declare your new tactical reality. Repeat this with the finality of a bridge collapsing into the sea. I eliminate all retreat. Forward is the only direction. You have learned to eliminate your escape routes, but what happens when the initial fire of commitment begins to fade and the daily grind sets in? How do you maintain discipline when motivation disappears? The answer is that you do not rely on your own internal willpower. You create external systems that force you to act. Napoleon Hill discovered that the world's most successful people do not depend on feeling like it. They create systems of accountability that compel them to perform even on the days they feel weak, tired, or uninspired. Our brains are hardwired to avoid discomfort and seek immediate pleasure. This is the biological root of procrastination. But you can hack this system. You can use a psychological lever to invert this pattern: positive pressure. Think about a deadline you have left until the last minute. When the deadline is far away, you drift. But as the final hour approaches, a state of hyper-focus descends upon you. You accomplish in hours what you failed to do in weeks. This happens because the pressure of imminent failure forces your brain to prioritize action above all else. Men of great achievement do not wait for this pressure to be applied to them by external circumstances. They intentionally and strategically create it for themselves. They put themselves in positions where failure would be more painful than the work itself. This is how you manufacture discipline when you don't feel disciplined. The most powerful way to apply this is through public commitment. If you simply tell yourself you are going to do something, you can fail in private with no consequences. Your weak self gets away with it. But if you make a promise to other people, to a friend, a mentor, your family, or a public audience, your mind will work tirelessly to avoid the shame and humiliation of failure. This is the law of external accountability. When you know that others are watching, when you know that your reputation is on the line, your brain understands that procrastination is no longer a viable option. The social pain of breaking your word becomes a powerful motivating force that overrides the temporary discomfort of the task itself. Your next challenge is to put this law into immediate practice. Take one important goal that you have been postponing. Now announce it. Announce it publicly. Post it on your social media. Tell your family at the dinner table. Send a message to a mentor you respect and ask them to hold you accountable. Create a real consequence. This act will create a positive pressure field around you, one that makes action the path of least resistance. You are using your own psychology against your weaker self. You are creating a system where discipline is not just a choice, but a necessity. Now declare this new system. Repeat, my word is my bond. My public commitment is my strength. You have learned to use pressure to stay committed, but a long campaign cannot be won on pressure alone. A soldier can be forced to march, but a victorious army marches with fire in its heart. A new challenge arises. How do you maintain your energy and enthusiasm over time so you don't abandon your mission halfway to victory? Napoleon Hill discovered that a lack of enthusiasm is one of the primary reasons men give up. The problem is not that they lack ability, but that they lose their inner fire before they achieve their objective. They run out of emotional fuel. Most people believe that enthusiasm is a feeling that comes and goes by chance. This is false. Enthusiasm is a state of mind that can be deliberately cultivated. It is not a product of luck. It is a product of a specific formula. It is born from a combination of a clear purpose, a stimulating environment, and the absolute certainty that every action you take is leading you towards a greater result. The great error is to wait for enthusiasm to arrive before you begin. The truth is the opposite. Enthusiasm is born from action. Have you ever started a task feeling tired and uninspired, only to find yourself filled with energy as you make progress? This is a universal human experience. Action creates momentum, and that momentum creates enthusiasm. The problem is that most people quit before they reach this state. They give up in the boring, difficult beginning, never reaching the point where the work itself becomes its own reward. The secret, as Hill taught, is to train your mind to get excited about every small victory. You must become your own greatest general, celebrating the capture of every small hill with the same fervor as a major city. You do this by creating a system of rewards for every piece of progress you make. You are conditioning your own brain. This reward can be something simple: a moment of quiet recognition after completing a difficult task, a small personal indulgence, a check mark on a progress chart. When your brain begins to associate the completion of work with a positive feeling, it will start to crave action instead of avoiding it. You are creating a positive feedback loop that naturally eliminates procrastination. Your next order is a logistical one. Write down 3 small, immediate rewards you can give yourself each time you defeat hesitation and complete an important task. It could be a specific type of coffee, 10 minutes of guilt-free leisure, or listening to a powerful piece of music. The reward itself is less important than the ritual of associating action with pleasure. This is how you manage your own morale. This is how you ensure your army has the will to fight day after day. You are the quartermaster of your own enthusiasm. You must keep your emotional supply lines open. Now declare this logistical law. Repeat, I fuel my action with enthusiasm. Every victory is a reward. You have learned to cultivate enthusiasm. But there is one final enemy of action that must be ruthlessly defeated: distraction. Napoleon Hill discovered that the ability to concentrate all of your mental power on a single objective is one of the most decisive factors in success. Your Mind is a magnifying glass. When focused, it can start fires. When unfocused, it is useless. The human mind is incredibly powerful when it is aimed intensely at one thing, but most people never experience their true potential because they live in a state of constant chronic distraction. Hill called the antidote definiteness of purpose, the idea that when you focus your mind on a single goal, everything else in your environment that does not serve that goal becomes irrelevant. The problem is that we live in an age specifically designed to shatter your focus. Your smartphone, social media, news alerts, emails, they are all weapons of mass distraction. They are engineered to hijack your attention and keep you occupied with the trivial and the irrelevant. They steal small slices of your focus until you realize your entire day is gone and nothing of importance has been accomplished. Here is the brutal truth. You will never defeat procrastination as long as you allow these distractions to have unrestricted access to your mind. The great achievers of history understood this. They created protected environments, mental fortresses, to shield themselves from dispersion. Henry Ford worked in isolated rooms. Thomas Edison experimented late at night to avoid interruptions. They designed their environment to serve their focus. You must do the same. You must become the ruthless architect of your own workspace and your own schedule. Your environment must be a temple dedicated to your purpose, not a public square open to every passing whim. This requires a simple but extremely effective method, the complete and total blockade of distractions. You will establish specific blocks of time in your day where your only mission is to work on your primary objective during these sacred blocks. There will be zero interruptions. Your phone will be in another room or in airplane mode. All notifications will be off. All unnecessary browser tabs will be closed. You will create a sterile environment where your mind can operate at its maximum capacity. This is your next command. Look at your schedule for the next 24 hours. Choose one block of time, at least 50 minutes long, where you will commit to working without any distractions whatsoever. Write down the single task you will perform. Prepare your environment beforehand. Then execute, experience the raw power of your own undivided attention. This is how you fortify your mind against the noise of the world. You are building walls to protect your most precious resource, your focus. This is not about restriction. It is about liberation, the liberation of your true potential. Now declare your fortress built. Repeat, my focus is my fortress. I defend. IT without mercy. You have learned the codes. You know how to make decisions, build momentum, forge your identity, and defend your focus. But now comes the most critical moment. How do you ensure this is not just a temporary effort, but a permanent transformation? How do you make this a new way of life, an unbreakable part of who you are? Napoleon Hill discovered that the true secret of success lies not in moments of great motivation, but in the relentless day-in, day-out consistency of action, until that action becomes as natural and automatic as breathing. Procrastination is not just a problem of discipline. It is a habit, and like any habit, it can be replaced. The most powerful force in your psychology is your identity. Your behavior will always, over time, align with the person you believe you are. Every time you postpone, you are casting a vote for the identity of a person who postpones. But on the other hand, every time you act, especially when you don't feel like it, you cast a vote for the identity of a person who is disciplined and productive. Here is the final powerful protocol. Stop telling yourself you need motivation to act. The great achievers of the world do not act because they feel motivated. They act because that is who they are. You do not need motivation to brush your teeth. It is simply part of your identity. Your productivity must become just as automatic. And the only way to achieve that is to act repeatedly until the behavior becomes unquestionable. To consolidate this new way of life, you will undertake a simple but supremely effective process. You will make a 30-day commitment. For the next 30 days, you will choose one significant goal and you will work on it every single day without fail. Even if it is only for 5 minutes, the goal here is not the quantity of work. It is the unbreakable consistency of the chain. If you commit to never breaking the chain for 30 days, something profound will happen. The enemy of procrastination will no longer be a daily struggle. It will have been starved of the one thing it needs to survive, your permission. Your mind will have accepted that action is simply what you do now. It is your new normal. This is your final challenge. Take one goal you have been drifting on and commit right now to the 30-day protocol. This is the crucible where your new identity will be permanently forged. At the end of this cycle, you will no longer have to fight procrastination because you will have become a person who simply and finally acts. When this is complete, you will not need these codes because you will have become the code. You will be the living embodiment of action. Now, seal this final protocol with a vow to yourself. Let this be your unbreakable promise. Repeat it now. For 30 days, I will not break the chain. My identity is forged in daily action.